Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. The Southwest TV Translator Association underwrites the news, and Dolores County Broadcasting Network provides the support for DCTV.
Here at the News at Noon show, we assemble the best and most interesting news we can find from the area, and Jerry Tope brings you the local weather and related news. Give us a call with news tips or topics you'd like to see covered. The number is 677-4119.
We appreciate that you're watching DCTV. Today's show is live on Wednesday at noon and rebroadcast at 2:30 and 8 p.m. and again re-aired on Saturday at noon, 2:30 and 8. It's November 30th, 2016. Here's the news at noon. Reported from the Cortez Journal, a semi-trailer rollover just north of the New Mexico border closed traffic lanes on U.S. Highway 491 late Monday night, according to Colorado State Patrol Trooper Josh Lewis. The incident occurred about 10 p.m. at mile marker 2 on the highway. The semi had rolled over and was blocking both lanes of traffic as well as the shoulder on the southbound side. Lanes remained closed until the highway was fully reopened about 1 a.m. The driver of the truck, a 44-year-old man from North Carolina, was transported to Southwest Memorial Hospital with minor to moderate injuries. No drugs or alcohol was involved in the rollover, but Lewis was not sure whether the crash was weather-related. As we are quick to recall, Montezuma County was under a winter storm warning until 6 a.m. Tuesday as a snowstorm moved into the area and deposited up to 3 inches of snow in parts of the county. And in another police report in the Durango Herald, a La Plata County man shot himself in the leg earlier this month while hunting north of Durango. Aaron Mallett, 35, stepped on a log and jumped down. As he came down, a rifle he had slung over his shoulder hit the hammer of a revolver strapped to his side, causing the handgun to discharge, according to an incident report filed by the San Juan County Sheriff's Office. The bullet hit Mallett in his upper right leg. Mallett, who was with his older brother, walked out of the forest before being taken by ambulance to Mercy Regional Medical Center. The severity of his injury was undisclosed. The revolver was being carried with a live round under the hammer, and the safety was not engaged, according to the incident report. The accidental shooting occurred about 1 p.m. November 5th in the Potato Spud Mountain area, near the San Juan-La Plata County line, on the south side of Coal Bank Pass and east of U.S. Highway 550. San Juan County Sheriff Bruce Conrad did not return phone calls seeking information around the time of the incident, and he didn't respond to an open records request until Tuesday, almost 2 weeks after the request was filed.
According to the Durango Herald, police are asking for residents' help in identifying a man who broke into Sirius Texas Barbecue in North Durango to steal an iPad and an undisclosed amount of cash. Video surveillance shows the man wearing a black North Face jacket with a hood enter the restaurant about 10:40 p.m. Wednesday, possibly through a back door at the business's North Durango location, 3535 Main Avenue. He is suspected of stealing cash during the robbery. The same man returned about 4:50 a.m. Thursday to steal an iPad, according to a post on the City of Durango's Facebook page. The restaurant was closed Friday when called for comment. The suspect is described as white, roughly 5'8" tall, with a thin build. He wore black skater-style shoes with white laces, baggy dark blue denim pants, and concealed his head with a dark navy blue shirt. He wore a black glove on his left hand but did not wear a glove on his right hand. It appears he entered the business through a door on the west side of the building and fled southbound along the west side of Ski Barn. Anyone with information is asked to call Durango Police Department Detective Chris Thompson at 375-4732.
We'll file this one in the Did You Think That Was a Good Idea drawer. The Cortez Journal reported a group of Fort Lewis College students defaced ancient Native American ruins in the Comb Ridge area near Bluff, Utah, while on an outdoor retreat in October. According to FLC spokesman Mitch Davis, the incident occurred on a Fort Lewis College outdoor pursuits overnight called Yoga in the Backcountry trip, October 14th through the 16th. He said campus authorities were made aware of the incident on Monday when photos of the vandalism surfaced on social media. The photos clearly show students had written in black charcoal, Fort Lewis College OP 2016, on the rock wall of the Fishmouth Cave in the Butler Wash area that parallels the eastern flanks of Comb Ridge. The rock wall is lined with a mess of graffiti, some of it dating to the early 1900s. It's a popular spot to write your name, but that doesn't make it right, Davis said. Our students know better than that. On its Facebook page, the Fort Lewis College Outdoor Pursuits Program, which has existed for nearly 40 years, said the group is investigating the incident. Such incidents are not tolerated on outdoor pursuits trips and are not a normal practice when visiting and traveling in the terrain in which the program operates, the post said. OP understands the seriousness of the vandalism and will continue to educate its participants with regards to being culturally and environmentally aware. Davis said all outdoor pursuit trips, which consist of about 10 students, are supervised by student leaders who go through an apprenticeship program before becoming qualified to lead an outdoor retreat. Davis said the students responsible have been identified, but instead of punishment, the school has chosen to use the incident as a learning experience and also a way to make amends. He said FLC has reached out to the BLM in an effort to begin a project that would not only fix the damage by FLC students, but also the litany of other graffiti at the site. The BLM office in Monticello, Utah, said it is investigating the incident and declined to comment. Under the Archaeological Resource Protection Act, first-time violators are subject to civil or criminal penalties up to a $250,000 fine or a 5-year prison term, or both. Fishmouth Cave is an opening on the eastern side of Comb Ridge that resembles a fish mouth. There's very little archaeology left in the cave itself after extensive looting at the turn of the 20th century, yet it remains a culturally significant site. The cave would be part of the proposed 1.9 million acres Bears Ears National Monument, which Dave Wells, Associate Director of Communications for Conservation Lands Foundation, said if designated would help better protect cultural resources. President Obama has not made a ruling on this potential monument designation. There is also a strong argument against the designation and instead enhancing the local stewardship practices.
According to the Cortez Journal, Scott Klassen's bond was set at $500 in connection with a domestic violence case in Montezuma County Court on Monday. Klassen was arrested on Sunday on suspicion of third-degree assault and domestic violence, according to a report from the sheriff's office. Judge Jenny Lynn Lawrence also issued a non-contact protection order for the alleged victim. Klassen's next court date will be December 7th for appearance of his counsel. In an unrelated case, Klassen, 58, was sentenced in September to 90 days of unsupervised probation and ordered to pay $7,697 in restitution after being convicted of shooting and killing his neighbor's 2,000-pound Charolais bull. According to prosecutors, Klassen was appealing that felony conviction for theft of an agricultural animal, and he had already paid restitution in that case. Also, Monday, Draco McGuire was sentenced to 24 months of probation in connection with a harassment and domestic violence case. Donovan Tully was handed an 18-month probation sentence in connection with a domestic violence case. On Tuesday, in county court, Colette Etzity was handed an 18-month probation sentence in connection with a harassment as an act of domestic violence case. Lawrence issued the sentence despite the recommendation from the probation department that Etzity see jail time, the judge said. Etzity had been in jail for 87 days. Philip Diggs was issued a 12-month deferred judgment in connection with a driving under the influence case. He will be required to complete education and therapy tracks as well as 24 hours of public service.
According to the Cortez Journal, Durango has the notorious Bridge to Nowhere, but Montezuma County may soon have an historic bridge to somewhere else yet to be determined. The Colorado Department of Transportation has offered to donate to the county a classic truss bridge from Montrose County that will soon be removed, officials report. The gift is being considered for use on the Paths to Mesa Verde Trail project connecting Cortez to Mancos, but exactly where it would be used is unknown. Because of its age, this week, CDOT will begin removing the 65-year-old bridge, which spans the Dolores River on Colorado Highway 90 about 4 miles east of Bedrock. Motorists will continue to use a temporary bridge while a new precast concrete bridge is built. The Dolores River Bridge is a steel Pennsylvania through truss bridge built in 1952. In 2002, the bridge was listed on the National Register of Historic Places for its architectural significance. The 129-foot span is one of 10 remaining intact steel through truss bridges statewide. CDOT is working with the county to donate the bridge for pedestrian and bike path use, said Lisa Schwantes, CDOT communications manager, and it will be delivered to Cortez at no cost. County planners said they have agreed to take the structure and plan to store it at the fairgrounds. The bridge has some challenges, including lead paint that would need to be mitigated. Reassembling the bridge is also an expense, Dietrich said, estimated to cost about $200,000, which may be at least in part covered by an historic preservation grant. The bridge was designed by the Colorado Department of Highways, fabricated by Midwest Steel and Iron Works, and built by Gardner Construction Company. Never commonly used in Colorado, Pennsylvania trusses represented a refinement of the standard Pratt truss, both of which were pioneered by the railroads and later constructed to carry vehicular traffic. SEMA Construction of Denver has been awarded the contract to dismantle the old bridge and build the new one, estimated to cost $3.8 million. When furnished by late summer 2017, it will provide several improvements for the driving public, including wider lanes and higher clearance for oversized vehicles. 2 years ago, a crack was discovered in a beam of the old bridge, and the damage forced its closure.
According to the Durango Herald, 2 unlicensed hunting guides from NUCLA and their Tennessee clients have been convicted and sentenced by a federal court for illegal hunting activities involving poaching trophy elk on the Uncompahgre Plateau, according to Colorado Parks and Wildlife. NUCLA residents Gerald Lee Sickles, 42, and J. Remy Grierson, 46, were indicted by a federal grand jury in November 2014 for violations of the Lacey Act, a federal law that bans illegal trafficking of wildlife. The convictions followed a long-term investigation by Colorado Parks and Wildlife and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. The violations were committed from 1999 to 2011 in Prized Game Management Unit 61, where few elk licenses are available each season and many people wait 20 years or more to draw a tag. GMU 61 is on the Uncompahgre Plateau west of Montrose. Sickles pleaded guilty to 1 felony count of conspiring to violate the Lacey Act and was sentenced November 7th in federal court in Denver to 1 year of intermittent incarceration and 1 year of probation, according to court records. Sickles must report to a local detention facility on all non-work days, on all vacation days, and on all holidays during the 1 year period. During the probation, he is prohibited from hunting or acting as a hunting guide. He also had to give up his 1996 Toyota pickup and a Fleetwood camping trailer, both of which were used in the commission of federal crimes. Grierson pleaded guilty to 3 misdemeanor violations of the Lacey Act and was sentenced in March 2016 to 2 years of probation and 40 hours of community service. And now here's our weather report.
Low temperature last night at the weather station 1¼ miles west of me in the west end of the county reported us as 10 degrees just before sunrise. A very weak ridge will be dropping in from the northwest and reach the northwest corner of Colorado by daybreak tomorrow. Most of its precipitation will likely be north of I-70. Any south of that will be much lighter. Any advisories are expected to be few and on the low end, but after midnight it will move south and snow will follow and increase behind the front. A closed low splitting off will form over central Utah and move south Friday and diminish Friday night. No significant accumulation is forecast from that one. Saturday, northwest flow will develop and a pair of systems will cause some snowfall Sunday night and Monday. From the first one of the two, mostly it will affect areas north of I-70. For Monday, the second one is stronger and will impact almost all the region, and significant snowfall will be possible in places. The low pressure system that brought widespread snow to portions of the northern plains, the Dakotas in particular, and the upper Midwest will weaken as it tracks eastward. Precipitation will linger in the afternoon today in that area. The cold front with this low extends southwards through the Appalachians, Tennessee Valley, and the Gulf states. Widespread rain and even some thunderstorms are expected from the lower Mississippi Valley to the northeast today. A few locations across the lower Mississippi and Tennessee Valley may have periods of heavy rainfall. Snow is expected to develop today across northern Maine as the precipitation spreads into the colder air already in place there, some of which may be heavy at times tonight and tomorrow. Rain and mountain snow will spread inland today in the northwest as a cold front moves in onshore. That's the precipitation forecast to reach the Intermountain West by this evening, with snow expected at all but the lowest valley elevations. Maximum temperatures across the west will generally be below average through Thursday. Highs are expected to be 5 to 15 degrees below average. These high temperatures in the mid-30s to low 40s don't actually look that bad after the colder nights, though, do they? The lows will continue in the teens for the next 5 nights, and Monday will be the next chance of snow. Now back to the news.
According to the Durango Herald, a little more than 3 weeks remain for public comments on a proposed land swap between Silverton Mountain Ski Area and the Bureau of Land Management. Last year, Silverton Guides, the arm of Silverton Mountain that provides helicopter skiing, submitted a request to the BLM to remove 5 active permit areas for heli skiing that total 5,556 acres in exchange for 4 other areas around Silverton, about 16,250 acres. The swap would effectively increase Silverton Mountain's available heli skiing area by 10,696 acres for a total of about 25,000 acres. Grouse Gulch, Cinnamon Houghton, Poughkeepsie, and Ross Basin would be removed from Silverton Mountain's recreation permit. The Illinois Hancock Southeast, Round, and Minnie-Maggie gulches would be added. Silverton Mountain is off U.S. Highway 550 on County Road 110, about 6 miles north of the town of Silverton. It is owned by Aaron and Jen Brill. The ski area offers some of the most extreme terrain in North America, with only one lift that brings adventurists to remote areas that require additional hiking. 6 years after the ski area opened in 2002, the Brills purchased Helitrax, and heli skiing became a major source of revenue for the small operation. The company also extended services in Alaska. Winter economy in Silverton is tough, and the town is overwhelming in support of the project because Silverton Mountain is the primary driver of winter economy, Aaron Brill said, and heli skiing is absolutely critical to have. Brill said research has shown visitors chose to ski Silverton because the mountain offers both a chairlift option and a heli ski option with some of the most affordable rates in the country. That drives the majority of guests to Silverton and gets people into town, he said. The proposed swap, however, has drawn the ire of some outdoor recreationists who say it would compromise prime backcountry areas for the sole purpose of attracting tourists, benefiting only Silverton Mountain and not the town's economy.
Here's some news presented at the climate talks in Marrakesh on Friday. The United Nations Climate Agency confirmed what scientists have been warning for months, that 2016 is very likely to surpass 2015 as the hottest year on record. The World Meteorological Organization also said there is an increasingly visible human footprint on the extreme weathers of recent years. Researchers from the Global Carbon Project reported that the increase in emissions of carbon dioxide from burning fossil fuels and industrial processes, a major contributor to global warming, have leveled off in the last 3 years. The problem is they need reduced, not just a leveling off of expansion. Global temperatures for the first 9 months of the year were about 1.2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. That's fast approaching the limit set by world leaders in Paris last year to keep global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels and as close to 1.5 degrees Celsius as possible. Some scientists believe world temperatures could exceed the 1.5 degree threshold as soon as 2030. Time to change course is running out by the time your newborn reaches their teens. The only large land area with below average temperatures was in South America and included parts of Argentina, Paraguay, and Bolivia. In parts of the Arctic basin, Russia area, temperatures soared 6 to 7 degrees above the long-term average. Many other Arctic regions, subarctic regions in Russia, Alaska, and northwest Canada were at least 3 degrees above average. The World Meteorological Organization is used to measuring temperatures records in fractions of a degree. So this is different. What kind of effects is it having? Well, the period from 2011 to 2015 was the hottest 5 years on record. Sea levels are rising, ice is melting. So-called once-in-a-generation heat waves and flooding are becoming more common. The cost in terms of lives and livelihoods is staggering. The United Nations attributes 258,000 deaths to the drought in East Africa from 2010 to 2012. Hurricane Sandy in 2012 resulted in an estimated $67 billion in economic losses in the United States. Typhoon Haiyan claimed 7,800 lives in the Philippines in 2013. Weather-related hazards drove more than 15 million people from their homes in 2015, according to UN estimates. So are the environmental effects devastating. The Arctic sea ice span from 2011 to 2015 was 28% below the 1981 to 2010 period. Much of the last 5 years, however, Antarctic sea ice span was above that 1981 to 2010 period, but as the latest research we talked about last week says, last year and this year may wreck or close to wreck that all by themselves. Sea levels have risen about 3 millimeters a year since 1993, nearly doubling the average of 1.7 millimeters set from 1900 to 2010. There was significant coral bleaching in some tropical waters, with coral mortality up to 50% of the area reported in parts of the Great Barrier Reef in 2016. So how much of a role is human-induced climate change playing? The World Meteorological Organization report found that many extreme weather events over the last 5 years were made a lot more likely as a result of man-made climate changes. In the case of some, warming by a factor of 10 or more. Of 79 studies published by the Bulletin of the American Meteorological Society on extreme weather events from 2011 to 2015, more than half cited human-induced climate change as a contributing factor. The Global Carbon Project reports that carbon emissions are projected to grow by just 0.2% in 2016. Moreover, this slowing to about 36 billion metric tons occurred at a time of steady economic growth, which has typically been associated with higher emissions, so it can be accomplished in times of economic growth. The authors of the study, published in the journal Earth Science and Science Data, attributed this slowdown primarily to declining coal use in China and the United States, the world's biggest polluters. Even if emissions have stabilized in some places, growth in others could push the global levels back up again. India, for example, says its emissions grew by more than 5% in 2015.
According to the Cortez Journal, Menkes Brewing Company is debuting some beers and celebrating the birthday of co-founder and brewer Dwayne Jackson in December. The brewery's Slap Happy Hop Cycle series will feature a different recipe each month celebrating the world of hop flavors. Each recipe is being brewed in single-barrel batches of 31 gallons with 10 gallon on tap exclusively at the brewery. The remaining batch is bottled in 16-ounce swing-top bottles available at the brewery, Menkes Liquor, and West Slope Liquor in Cortez. Recipe 001 is now available, and Recipe 002 will be available December 9, which is made from whole cone hops from the Fort Lewis Hop Research Trials in Hesperus. To celebrate the new Slap Happy Hop Cycle series, Dolores folk duo The Lindells will be playing dual solo acoustic sets at the Menkes Brewery on December 10th at 6 p.m. The brewery will be celebrating Jackson's birthday with $3 house pints during open mic night on December 11th at 6 p.m. Also debuting this month is a collaboration beer created by Menkes Brewing Company and Fahrenheit Coffee Roasters. Fahrenheit Espresso Stout, which features a rich coffee aroma, light roastiness, and clean finish. The beer is now on tap with 16-ounce swing-top bottles being released soon. A nitro version of the beer will be available Christmas weekend through New Year's Eve at the Mancus Brewery.
According to a report in the Durango Herald, management practices for bighorn sheep in Colorado have been called into question after a spike in euthanizations this summer in the high country of the San Juan Mountains. In 2009, the state adopted a protocol that mandates any wild bighorns that come into contact with domestic sheep herds must be euthanized. Colorado Parks and Wildlife, the state agency in charge of wildlife management, renewed the measure in 2014. The justification, the division argues, is that bighorn sheep can bring back to its herd a bacteria that can be transmitted during mating. In the spring, newborn lambs can be infected with pneumonia-type symptoms, causing die-off. Cattle and other livestock do not carry the same threats. CPW spokesperson Joe Lewandowski said, "As wildlife managers, we look at populations, not individual animals. In this case, we know an individual animal could spread disease to the larger herd, and then we have a bigger problem." Since its inception, CPW has rarely had to pull the trigger on the protocol in the San Juan Mountains. Lewandowski said the division euthanized just one bighorn in the last 5 years. However, this summer, the division was forced to kill 6 wild bighorn sheep. Statewide numbers were not immediately available. The uptick in euthanizations has reinvigorated tensions among varying interests of public land users, especially as the final decision for the future of sheep grazing in the Waminuche Wilderness looms. The first euthanasia occurred April 24th and was an anomaly. A 2-year-old bighorn wandered into a domestic sheep pen on the property near Turtle Lake, a few miles northwest of Durango, and encountered a churro sheep. The following 2 incidents involved wild rams coming into contact with domestic sheep, all from the same grazing permit holder out of Montrose. On August 21st, CPW received a report from a herder that 3 bighorns were among a fairly large flock of domestic sheep near Placer Gulch, northeast of Silverton, on BLM land. Our officers went up there and we had to take out 2 rams and 2-year-olds and 1 adult ewe. 12 days later, when sheep were supposed to be off of a Forest Service grazing allotment on Black Bear Pass, 3 domestic sheep accidentally left behind happened upon 2 wild rams. The 2 wild animals, both about 1.5 years of age, were killed. Under the current Forest Service permit system for grazing, there is no penalty for leaving domestic sheep on an allotment past the allowed time. By the early 1900s, only a small number of native sheep remained in Colorado, decimated by hunting, disease, and habitat loss. Since then, a decades-long effort to restore the species has resulted in a population estimated at 7,000 statewide. The area from the southern edge of Coal Bank Pass, the Waminuche Wilderness to the east, the San Luis Valley to the west, and Ouray to the north, is home to about 2,000 bighorns spread throughout various herds. While some have called for the complete phasing out of domestic sheep on public land, suggested compromises have called for more strict boundaries on when and where domestic sheep are allowed to graze. However, Bonnie Brown, executive director for the Colorado Wool Growers Association, said livelihoods depend on the right to use the natural resources on public lands, and closing off or forcing herders to move could be detrimental. Almost 200,000 livestock roamed in the San Juans in 1920. However, the presence of domestic sheep dramatically decreased over the past 100 years. The latest records show that in 2013, just 6,100 sheep foraged the area in question. And though the grazing fee for 5 sheep increased to $2.11 a month in March, costs for the use have been chronically low. For the same amount of sheep, private interests charge around $20 a month. The renewed conflict comes just months before Matt Janowiak, district ranger for the Columbine district, is set to announce the final decision for the future of grazing in the Waminuche Wilderness. Janowiak said a court ruling in the final decision for the Waminuche Wilderness could be announced in January. He said public comments favored phasing out grazing, but not by a large amount. For now, wildlife managers operating under the current protocol encourage anyone who witnesses a bighorn coming into contact with a domestic sheep to report it.
And now for the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of November 21st through the 27th. A resident requested an officer to stop by with questions. After responding, the deputy learned that the situation was in another jurisdiction and advised the resident of the correct location for reporting. Deputies responded to reports of a vehicle driving carelessly at excessive speeds up and down a county road. A deputy made contact and the driver was issued a citation. A town resident reported a problem with a sewer line in town. The town manager was contacted and responded to the call. A resident motorist reported cows on a county road in Cajon. The owner of the cows was notified. That's it for this week's Roundup. Stay tuned for continuing updates.
For today's High Country happenings, Saturday, December 3rd, the 25th Annual Dolores Community Center Christmas Bazaar will be held from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at 400 Riverside Avenue. A signature community event, the Durango Arts Center's Winter Solstice Artisan Market, is the perfect destination for holiday shopping. Experience the Barbara Conrad Gallery as it transforms into a dynamic market featuring over 40 regional artists. Open Friday, November 25th, it will close Friday, December 23rd. During that time, it is open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and closed Sundays. Offerings original and unique fine art and crafts, including ceramics, jewelry, metal, textiles, glass, wood, note cards, ornaments, calendars, photography, painting, and drawing, to name just a few of the enticing arts you will see at this year's market. To browse the market, it's free. The 9th Annual Dolores Christmas Gift Drive is collecting new unwrapped toys, clothes, and books for children ages 1 to 12 years old. Drop off at Dolores Christian Child Care, Dolores State Bank, Ponderosa Restaurant, Family Dollar in Dolores, or Riverside Convenience Store. Financial donations can be given online at DoloresChristianChildCare.org. Also, if your family needs help or if you know of someone who could use a little extra love this holiday season, call Debbie at 882-2446 or Lori at 759-3601. And all of these happenings are posted up on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the embedded YouTube replays of the live show and the DCTV 5-day forecast. Email us at dcbnnews@gmail.com or call the station at 677-4119 and we'll be sure to get your news on air.
Thanks for tuning in. A reminder that this program is aired live at noon Monday through Wednesday, then rebroadcast at 2:30 and 8 p.m. and again aired Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the same order at noon, 2:30, and 8 p.m. each day, respectively.
And again, be sure to check out our Facebook page, and original stories and all event details are there. Please like us and share the link.
For Kendra Cook, Jerry Tope, and everyone at DCTV with the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.